Hello, in today's video I'm going to be basically giving you some tips when it comes to getting drone footage at sunrise/sunset. Now as you can see, golden glow is upon me, so the sun is about to set. We've got about 30 minutes till sunset, so I'm actually going to find a nice little place to sit down, and I'm going to get the drone in the sky, and then I'm just going to talk you through a few things. So it's been a pretty hectic day for me today. This is going to be my third video of the day, so I'm just going to sit down, relax. Also, I have got the Air 3 back, so we're also part of this. We're doing a bit of a check flight on this, whilst I'm going to give you some sunset tips. So let's hope everything goes smooth. Let's go find a spot. Okay, so whilst I get everything up and get everything ready, let me talk you through a couple of things that bear in mind, a couple of pre-tips, so to say. Now, when it comes to sunrise and sunset flights, I generally try and do 2 runs. So I'll do one run basically without an ND filter, and then I'll come back, or if it's the other way around, if it's sunrise, I'll then go back out again with an ND filter, just so that my camera settings can stay correct. Now, because it's sunset, I'm going to first go out with an ND filter, and that's going to sort of also, what's the word I'm looking for? Just going to play into what kind of shots I'm going to get. So we're going to get an ND filter on this. I'm not sure what I'm going to need today with the Air 3, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm going to stick on a 16 and hope that's something about right, because if it's not, then we'll just have to play with the settings, but hopefully it is. That's one thing about being by the beach. There's just like, there's no tables, or you can't just put things on the floor because then they'll just get covered in sand. So you have to make things work. So let's get the ND out with a 16, put that on there. Something that people often ask me is, how do I get audio footage on the drone footage? So basically what I do is I'm recording audio now through my other camera, my phone, through this microphone, but what I do is I sync everything up in post-production. So in order to do that, I actually have to do this. So what I do, I'll get my screen recording going on the controller. I will start the drone recording. There we go. And then I'll just point basically so I can see both cameras, and I just go creating sync point, and then I slap my face. And then I can use the face slap as a sync point in post-production to edit everything together. Right, let's get this guy in the sky, and then I'll talk you through a few other things. Now what I'm doing here, I'm actually filming one giant clip, but I do not recommend that anybody does this. I always say film individual clips whenever you're doing so. It makes things easier to put together in post-production, and it also makes you focus more on the actual individual clip that you're filming. But to make this video easier for me to put together in post-production, I'm just going to film one giant clip. Okay, so we're up in the air now, and as you can see, we're pointed towards the sun, and things are looking a little bit overexposed. Now, that's absolutely fine for what I'm trying to do, because the sun is setting, so it's only going to get darker and darker as time goes on. So in this instance, I'm not too worried about it. So what I'm going to do is I want to set my white balance first of all. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do this with sunset footage. You can either just go to between, I recommend 5,800 or 6,000 Kelvin, somewhere in between there. Currently the drone's at 5,900, so that's pretty much where we need to be. I'm going to turn it around actually, so that we're facing the opposite direction, because I actually want to capture some footage with the light shining onto some things first. So in this instance, we've got the trees. So the exposure is a little bit low. I'm going to push the ISO to 200 and see what that looks like. That looks okay. So I'm just going to adjust my framing ever so slightly, point the camera down. This is looking pretty good. Now I would start recording this clip. As we fly along, we got a bit of that nice golden lighting here on these palm trees. It's looking really nice there. And that's one way you can use that sunset lighting to your advantage. So what you want to do in this situation is just capture a variety of different shots in the area that you're in that are just going to help to show things off. Now, we've all seen sunset footage where somebody's got their drone up and they're just constantly looking towards the sun. That's not what we want to see. Once we've seen the sun, if it's just 10 minutes of the same sunset, it's not that interesting. Oh, there we go. Habitual movement there. I just clicked to stop recording because I finished my shot. So we'll keep going anyway. So I'm going to drop the ISO back down again to 100. And now we're just going to get a nice clip here going towards the sun. Now I could put the sun in the center of the clip here, and that could look nice, but also having it slightly offset here is also going to look quite nice, because we have a bit of a balance here between darker and lighter areas. We've got a bit of a dark area on the left, and we've got a lighter area there on the right. We're looking at a touch on the overexposed side. I could just pull my shutter up ever so slightly just to bring the exposure down, and I think that's going to be a little bit nicer. Now what I'm going to do, hit record, do a bit of a forwards flight here, and this is going to look absolutely lovely. Very basic camera movement here, just flying forwards, but we can see we've got the sun reflecting off the water patches in the bottom, and it's perfectly aligned on that left hand grid line. it looks absolutely stunning. So that's going to be a pretty nice shot for that. So what I want to do next is I want to highlight another feature. So I know that just over there is a bit of a pontoon, and it's got like a building on it. So that's going to be a pretty cool feature to use here. So far everything is looking pretty good with this Air 3. I've got nothing that's giving me any concerns at the minute. We don't have that same issue that I was having before with the front vision sensor. It would actually be quite a nice shot. We'll just film as we're approaching the pontoon. We've got the islands just sitting on top of the horizon there. It's such a picturesque location. I'm just, honestly, I feel so blessed right now that I've just got access to this beach basically at will. It's so close to where I'm staying. It's just magical. So I'm going to stop the recording there. So we've got a little bit of something that we can use in order to help progress the story along. So if I've just been doing some shots, I can then introduce this pontoon as something else. Obviously we see what we're going towards, and then we can jump to it as we get nice and close to it and do some nice hero shots of it. So a couple of shots always work well, a bit of a top-down spin, a little bit of an orbit, so we'll do both of those. So we're going to have to play a little bit with the camera settings here. It's getting a bit darker. I will have to come back and remove that ND filter soon, but I don't want to do it just yet because there's another shot that I want to get that I need the ND for. So I'm going to slap the camera pointed down, and we're going to get right above this, getting a weak antenna signal, but it shouldn't be too bad. It's not that far away from me. There we go, just angle the controller a bit better. So here we need to increase the ISO. Let's pump it up. I'm going to go for, we'll go with ISO 400 here. That looks like a pretty decent balance there of exposure. 800 will also work, and I tried to keep things below 1600 because at 1600 you really do start to get a lot of noise in the image. So 800 would work, 400 would also work. I think for this one, I'm unsure. Let's go with 400. It's a tad dark. I can always brighten things up a little bit in post-production. It's easier to lift exposure than it is to pull down, because if something is overexposed, all detail is gone. You can't do anything with that footage. So let's just do a bit of an ascending spin for this one. So increase in altitude, slow rotation, whack cruise control on, and now I just sit here, watch the magic unfold, and it's just so easy. So now we've got a beautiful shot. It's perfectly framed. Things bang in the middle. We've even got a jet ski hanging off the back. Looks beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to stop that right about there. Now another shot that I want to get of this is a bit of a rotational shot. So I'm going to pull back, and we're going to flick the camera back up. Which way was the sun? Oh, look at that. We've got a something coming, a boat. But the sun is over here. Let me just get that exposure back down. We'll go back to ISO 100. Okay, let's pull back. Now I want to get two different shots here. The first one I want to get is the object in silhouette. So I need to be going towards the sun for that with my camera. And the other one I want to get is basically the golden hour glow on that pontoon. So we'll start off with the silhouette shot. So we'll pull it a bit lower down. We want to get nice and low for this one. Always be careful flying low over water. Make sure that everything is how it should be. Now I want this to start off without the sun in view, and then I want to rotate so that we see the sun come into view. So I'm going to have a look, double check my exposure. That actually looks pretty much bang on. So something else I'm going to do to make this even nice, I'm going to go onto the 3x zoom camera. And that should take me in a little bit closer to the subject. Now we're going to have to play again with the camera settings. I think we're going to have to go for ISO 200 for this one. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, ISO 200. Like I said, I am trying to go for a little bit of a silhouette, so that's not too big of an issue. And I don't want to go too low for this, but I do want to get some nice framing here. So I'm going to go roughly around here. So we've got the pontoon running in between both the grid lines, and the top of that island is sort of riding along that upper grid line. So start recording, and let's do a bit of an orbit around this thing. Let's get it balanced out. I'm in normal mode here, so we've got a lot of precision going on. Once the orbit is locked in, I could just flick cruise control on and then completely hands off. It is doing that absolutely perfect orbit. Look at it. The sun now crosses behind. We've got a beautiful parallax moment going on, and that is just a lovely shot. This is a really good use of that 3x camera, getting that compression going on, bringing the background closer. It looks stunning. Okay, so now we're coming around to the sun-kissed side, I'm going to call it. So I'm just going to lift the drone up a bit, and we're going to get round a bit quicker. because the sun is soon going to drop below the hills over there. I think we're actually just about losing it. So whilst filming this video, obviously I'm talking along and I might have lost a bit of an opportunity. We might still just get a little bit round the back. Let's just drop him down ever so slightly. Okay, we'll go for this. We'll just try and make sure that's focused there. Let's do a bit of an orbit again. Cruise control, there we go. Cruise control's a little quick there on the yaw. Let me just balance it out. Oh, kind of messed that one up a bit. There we go, nicely done. Bit of the sun-kissed glow, a little bit of a reflection on the water there too. Really, really nice. Okay, so the next thing I want to do involves, like I said, having that ND filter going. So I want to get a nice, low, fast shot with before the sun is completely set. So let me just quickly check. I think I might be a bit late here, but you never know, we might not be. Oof. Okay, we've got a little bit of time. We're gonna have to race quickly back to the shore and then we can do the shot. Okay, we're pretty much there. So the shot that I want to get, like I said, I need the ND filter on for this one because I want to get that motion blur coming in. So we've got a little bit of a lens flare going on there with the sun. Now, a lot of people don't like lens flare personally. I'm not too fussed about it. It looks nice. It's a little bit cinematic, it's a bit stylistic. Now for this, with sunset framing, you have to be a little bit more flexible because the sun is obviously going below the horizon, and if you have the horizon set right on that upper grid line, it can sometimes look a bit funny. So for this, I'm going to leave the horizon in the middle. I might tilt the gimbal as we go, but we'll see. So everything is set. We're going to record and we're going to go nice and fast. Nobody is in the way, and we should get some nice motion blur coming in as we fly along there, just keeping an eye on the drone as we go sand, water, sand. And when we get to the next section of water, I'm going to lift it up and we're going to see more of that sunset coming in. Might lose signal here. No, we're pulling up. Beautiful. Okay. I think we might have lost the signal. Yeah, lost signal. Wait for it to come back. There's a lot of tree line here. I expected it to happen. So return to homes, everything is set up, so it should be coming back. I hear it. Waiting for the image. Just point the camera, the controller this way. There we go. We've got it back. Let's cancel return to home. Let's fly him in a bit closer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it in and I'm going to pull the ND filter off, because the rest of my shots, basically, if I leave the ND filter on, the sun is going to set, it's going to get darker and darker. We can already see it's getting pretty dark here with this filter on. So we're going to pull it off. There it is. Beautiful. Okay, let's quickly swap the ND and get it back up. Filter off, let's get it back up there. Nice clear area around and above me. Take off. Beautiful. If you're enjoying this video so far, consider becoming a member on Patreon, as it's one of the best ways to support the work that I'm doing here. Now, I also have a complete drone videography course which will take you from where you are now all the way to an advanced drone pilot and cinematic genius. Now, it's already transforming people's flying and footage, and it will do exactly the same for you. Now, I've also started a weekly newsletter giving you the latest drone news, hot tips and discounts, and you can find all of this linked in the video description. Whilst you're down there, make sure to tap the subscribe button for more videos like this. Thank you for that, and let's get back into it. Okay, now we can see that everything is massively overexposed. Probably could have gone to an ND8, but we'll just work with it. Because I've done all the stuff that I wanted to do with the ND filter, which I needed motion blur for, like the low fast shot, I'm just going to crank the shutter speed a bit higher now. We're going to balance the exposure that way. So we're going to have to go to a pretty high shutter, but as the sun sets, it's going to get darker and we'll just lower and lower that shutter speed as time goes on. Now, if this was a sunrise, basically this would just be completely in reverse. I would start off with a lower shutter and then I would increase the shutter a little bit. But generally in that situation, I tend to come back sooner, change to an ND filter on, and then go back out. Check that my phone is still recording. It is. Okay, let's just get a few more different shots now. So there's some people here, some locals playing football. So that could possibly be a little bit of a point of interest. But basically, until the sun is completely set now and we have a few more colors coming into the sky, there's not a whole lot that we want to, or that I particularly want to capture. Now there's some beautiful sand patches here, which could make some nice footage. So I'm just gonna fly along. We're just gonna pull the shutter a little bit. Okay, we're gonna go over there. I'm just gonna fly along and do a slow gimbal tilt down just so that we get a bit more focus on that as we fly along. So I'm gonna ascend. I'm gonna use cruise control here to make things a bit easier. And I'm just gonna pull down on the gimbal, match the speed nicely. And that just lets us see a bit more of the beach area that I'm in. We can see we've got some nice mix between sand and sea going on here. Now, nothing too crazy, but still looks pretty nice. So let's stop that there. Now we do know that further out, there's a bit of interesting, over here we've got some cool features under the water. I'm not sure, I think it's just like seaweed or seagrass, something like that. So we'll head over here, and I know that just about here, it splits from going from dark to a really beautiful shade of blue. Now this looks amazing in the middle of the day. Not sure how good it's gonna look at sunset, but we'll try it out and see how we look. So I'm gonna fly it over here. I'm gonna point the camera down. Let's adjust the shutter speed again, just to bring it up. Now, you could do all of this in auto camera settings, but I prefer to just have the control. And also with auto, you can get some weird white balance shift going on if you're moving from place to place. White balance is a little bit funny with these because it sort of links the cool temperature also with the green magenta tint. So sometimes it can be advantageous to use auto white balance if you know you're not going to be changing the sort of shot too much and it won't give you a white balance shift. Sometimes it can be fine because it can give you a better balanced image, but for this instance, I'm going to leave it as is. We're going to go to, we can actually get the perfect camera settings here. I'm just going to drop that down. Now I'm going to pull this back so we're just hovering over this feature here. Make sure that the drone doesn't hit the water. Here's a little bit further away, but I can just see the flashing white. So we're going to get nice and low here. Oh, look at that. You see some fish too? Wow, beautiful. Let's pull it. Let's go into Cine. Let's just pull over to these fish quickly and let's have a look what's going on here. Look at that, eh? Beautiful. Okay, let's head back over to what I wanted to do initially. So we've got this rock. Hit record. And now I'm just going to do just a basic straight ascent. And this should look beautiful. Now what I'll probably do with this in post-production is I'll do a speed ramp. So we'll start off slow, then we'll get a whoosh, and then we'll just be far out where we can see everything in its whole. Now look how beautiful this area looks. You see all the underwater features. It's honestly stunning. Wow, amazing. Okay. So we'll stop that one there. We've seen the finished product. So we can actually see now the sun is basically about to dip below the horizon. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make most of this. I'm going to fly the drone out. We're going to go onto our 3x camera because zooming in on this one, getting that compression is going to make things look a little bit nicer. What this is going to allow me to do is basically just pull the sun closer to the that hill in the distance. So now I've got that camera settings where I want them to be. I want to basically have it to a point where, as I fly to the side, I'm going to decrease the altitude and I want the sun to just dip below this rock. Let me just get this correct. Okay, so I'm moving to the side. I want to decrease my altitude. I want to have it so the sun just goes behind that thing. Oh, look at this. Paid actors. We've got jet skis coming in front. As the sun dips below there, the jet skis go past the front. Beautiful. Sometimes little things like that just happen. Magical moments. You can't complain. Another thing you could do in this instance is I could just go up a bit, locate the sun in the center of this hill, and then drop it down a bit. And then we could just do a nice ascending climb for this one. So let's just start the recording, go into sports mode. I want a lot of speed with this. So pushing forwards, we're going to accelerate hard towards the hill. And I'm going to push up. And then we're going to see the sun appear behind the hill. Now something like this works a bit better at sunrise because it's a good way of welcoming the sun. But sunset also, you know, you can just sort of use these ideas, use them to how you want. This is a pretty chill video as my videos go. We're just moseying along. This is that Pig Island over there. That is Pig Island. Basically, it's an island and it's just got loads of pigs on it. I've been there before. Got some beautiful shots there with the Mini. Haven't been there actually since I've been back here, but it's still a beautiful place. Okay, we've lost pretty much all of the direct sunlight now, so I'm just gonna chill out, wait for a minute until we have some more colors in the sky, and then basically we'll carry on. Okay, so I'm back up in the sky now. The sun has completely set, as you can see on the screen. And I basically just want to get a couple of finishing shots. Now, this is a great time to use foreground as silhouette. So if I had some palm trees further out in the distance, it would work better, but they're all quite close together here, so I can't really get in between them too easily. So instead, what I'm just going to do is get a nice closing shot. Now, once the sun has set, there's not really too much opportunity. It's getting quite dark anyway. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to pull back, ascend, and I'm just going to have everything framed really nicely, and it should make a really nice closing shot. So let's get the camera rolling. We're going to pull back and ascend up. Just going to get cruise control on and let it do the rest. The shot should come together quite nicely. We've got a bit of a bright area in the top right. The rest is fairly dark, and it's just going to make a really nice closing shot. Got a bit of contrast as well coming in with the ground features here, the sand and the water. All of this different stuff just helps to make a much more just cohesive shot. So that's going to be it. That's the last shot I want to get there. I'm going to stop cruise control before he goes too far away. But yeah, this has been quite a chill video. Like I said, just brought you along with me as I go to fly at a sunset. I hope you can still see me. Actually, yeah, you can. Just giving you some tips along the way of basically just going through what I'm doing at the time, and just hopefully make things a bit easier for you as a guy doing a bloody burnout there. But yeah, so if you've enjoyed this video, you're also going to enjoy this video right here. And if that one doesn't speak to you, then maybe this one here will. So thank you again for watching. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.